Understandably, from both the policy and political perspectives, much of Illinois has been laser focused on Senate Bill 1, the education funding bill, which seeks to change the formula used to fund public K through 12 education in our state. The implications are high and an incredibly important topic, no doubt. But we in Northern Illinois have been primarily dealing with the flood devastation and assisting flood victims after approximately 20 inches of rain. The effects of these massive rain events have been daunting, to say the least, and the cleanup will take time, and the cost of the devastation will be tremendous. So I'd like to tell you what's been happening in my legislative district, District 64, which includes portions of the Fox River and encompasses the Crystal Lake proper. Along the Fox River for the last few weeks, we've been beaten down by torrential rains. People who live near or on the river are no strangers to flooding or sandbagging to protect their properties. But it is not just homes, but also the many businesses along the chain who depend on the watercraft traffic in the summer for a year's worth of income. So it's not only been a physically and emotionally very difficult for the people along the Fox River and the chain of lakes, but also economically damaging. Despite their physical exhaustion, we are inspired by the generous help of charities such as the Red Cross, local charities, local governments, state and federal agencies. I would be remiss if I didn't mention IEMA and the DNR, specifically Coleman Covington and Brad Winters, but also our McHenry's very own Dave Christensen and Lake County's Joe Keller. We are very grateful for everyone's help and assistance despite this natural devastation. In Crystal Lake proper, the city, the houses along the lake are suffering from severe rains. Unlike the Fox River, residents, however, are not used to this flooding. Dozens of homes have been heavily damaged, and to make matters worse, sewage is coming up through their pipes. You can imagine the stress and the difficulty they are experiencing these last few weeks, because every time it rains, the saturated ground infiltrates their homes further. To add insult to injury, the residents just received their property tax bills. Many saw an increase over 15% and as high as 26%. The timing was obviously an unfortunate coincidence with the natural disaster they're dealing with, but it coincides completely with the unnatural man-made disaster that is recurring right here, right now in Springfield. Adding 32% income tax increase on all taxpayers, including District 64 taxpayers, without first reforming our incredibly unfair system and our property tax owners is an outrage. The people of Northern Illinois have asked me to represent them, to protect their interests as home and business owners, but the majority of this body has made it near impossible. So I suggest this, bearing the Hippocratic Oath in mind, let us do no further harm by taking no more money from our taxpayers unless and until we reform the basic structure and contours of state government, including and especially our property taxes. The people of 64 can no more endure any more devastations, be they natural or man-made. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.